Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to be looking at a regression analysis that I actually have not shown before. It'll look really similar to another one that we showed a few weeks ago, but it's actually completely different. So if you guys like the content, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also let me know what you guys think about the video in the comment section below. We also do have a public Telegram channel that you can join if you would like to discuss these charts with some other people. We have over 4,000 people in the Telegram group, so I'd love to see you guys join. So I put out a chart that looks like this a few weeks ago. And actually it's been out for months and months, but one of the videos that I put out recently, it did pretty well. It was called, Bitcoin, the Beauty of Mathematics, and it had these regression lines. Okay, it had our fair value line, our undervaluation region, and then the overvaluation speculative bubble region. But I should have been clear in that video, that fit was to the total cryptocurrency market cap, not just Bitcoin. Okay, it was all of crypto. And there were some people that were confused by that because, I projected a $10 trillion market cap sometime in, say, the next 3 to 4 years or so, and which would signify a price of Bitcoin that is much higher than $100,000. But I just want to clarify that that was for the total cryptocurrency market cap, not the price of Bitcoin. So in order to show you guys what many of you were thinking you were looking at, I created these bands, which is the same thing. It's basically the same methodology that I carried out for the total crypto market cap, but this time we're just doing it with respect to the price of Bitcoin. So the yellow line is that fair value line, and this is the fair value line of just the price of Bitcoin. The green line tends to be our undervaluation regime. So when we're near the green line, we're basically saying, okay, Bitcoin has historically been undervalued. You can see the wick that we had in March went right below that green line, but you can see that's where it went. And then our red line historically is our, okay, we're in bubble territory. We're getting into mania phase. Things are just, they're going to go crazy for a few weeks, and then we're going to ultimately retrace back into this regime. Now, the first bubble, you can see, it came up in April of 2011, came up to the peak in June of 2011, and then ultimately fell back down. And then in the second, you can see it came straight back to the green line, which is where it was before. Then it spent some time between the green line and the yellow line, so these two regression lines here, before breaking through to above the red line. And then it actually came down to this support region, basically saying, okay, you know what, we're still in that speculative bubble phase, and then it continued on to a much higher high. It retraced. Notice that once it actually broke the red band, like clearly saw we broke the red band on monthly candles, it did signify that we were going down to the green band, just like it did over here. When we broke the red band on the monthly candle, we did inevitably go to the green band before ultimately kind of building back up and breaking back out. Second cycle, you can see the same thing. Well, if this is the first cycle, second cycle, and then third cycle, you can see that once we broke that red band on the monthly time frame, we came down to the green band yet again, stayed in this region for quite a long period of time, back up. Last time broke the red regression band on the monthly time frame, ultimately came back down. And recently we actually just did have our first wick down to that green line. Now, I should remind everyone that these regression fits would change depending on what time interval you're using to fit. Currently, I'm using all of cryptocurrency price, or all of Bitcoin's price data. If you were to say refit this in 3 to 4 years, it would look, it might actually look a little bit different. And that's why we say, these aren't magical fits. It's just fit to the data up until the point we have it. We would need to redo these, every so often, maybe every market cycle or every year or so, just so we know we're as accurate as we can be with where we are with respect to the fit of the price of Bitcoin. Now, the interesting thing, right, is you guys remember this line, or this regression fit here. Let me turn off the other one. This one shows, just our accumulation region, our primary accumulation band, and then this one shows the peaks of the price of Bitcoin. So first peak up here, second peak, third peak. This is just a wick, but if you change it to, say, like a weekly time frame, it does become more obvious, where these peaks are. So you can see them a lot clearer here. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so now we're going to dive into this further. But before I do that, I want to let everyone know that we do have the premium list. If you want to join it, just go to intothecryptoverse.com. You can pay with cryptocurrency and get 6 to 12 months at a discount. So please check it out, intothecryptoverse.com. We're adding a new perk to the premium list, and I think it'll appeal to a lot of people. It was requested significantly by people that are already on the list, and that is a Telegram group, in which case I basically just broadcast various charts, my own analysis, throughout the day or whenever I have time, so that you guys can see what I'm thinking more so in real time rather than just seeing kind of the next video on something. So, it takes a lot more work to make a video and then upload it to YouTube. Now what we're doing is if there's a market moving, whether I want to show up an update to the regression band on Bitcoin, or maybe we're talking about Tesla that day because Tesla's going through the roof, or if Ethereum is making a move, if different coins are making a move, I can't realistically cover 10 different videos in one day, but maybe I can post updated charts and give you guys thoughts on where I think things are headed, and also post risk updates. I mean, we have those for people on the premium list already, but I can help alert you to what's going on there if something significant is moving. So if you guys like that idea, then be sure to check out the premium list. In addition to getting access to that new channel, that new Telegram channel, you will also get a weekly premium video, a weekly report backed by quantitative finance, data science, and then also you'll get access to a Google Sheets document with the live risk levels of things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Cardano, Litecoin, the S&P 500. We're going to be adding more stuff. We have regression analysis of Tesla, the total cryptocurrency market cap. So please check it out. There's I'm trying to add value to it constantly. So the newest thing being added is a Telegram channel where I basically just broadcast my own thoughts and analysis on the market straight to you guys. So if you want access to that, then be sure to subscribe to the premium list. And if you want to be added to that channel, just DM me on Telegram and we'll make it happen. So please check that out. So the next thing, and this is key. This is what we've spoken about this before with respect to the total cryptocurrency market cap, but we also want to talk about it with respect to Bitcoin just to show what it's doing. Okay, so the idea is let's take the percent difference, right, between the price and the yellow line, the fair value line. Now, at first glance, you might wonder what this is. Well, I wanted to show this on a log scale, but I thought it might be kind of monotonous to make sure people are viewing it in a log scale. So I just went ahead and I just transformed it. I took the natural log of that metric already. So it's been transformed from log, so you can view it in linear now. But one of the things that you might not be aware of is it looks like on the weekly time frame, of course, that these are similar. I mean, you can see they peaked at about 2.65 above the fair value fit. Okay, but the thing is that first cycle we really spent hardly any time at the top, and because of that, if you view it on a daily time frame, you can really start to see the trend line form. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw this trend line. So we're going to start here, and then we're going to draw it to this peak here. Okay. Once we do that, we're going to just simply scroll over, and then take this and just extend it like that all the way out. Okay. Now, I don't know what that was. So now what we're going to do is we're going to expand this back out. So we know, right, we already know that you can see that it's fit to the top of this peak, to the top of this peak, and to the top of this peak. Now the issue is it's hard to view all this data when you're looking at the daily time frame. So let's go ahead and switch back to the weekly time frame. Now here, you already know that this looks like a good fit here. It looks like a good fit here. It doesn't look like a good fit here just because we only spent like such a short period of time at that level. But I just showed you that we were up at that level. So you can just imagine that there was like a price wick up to that region or somewhere in that region. Okay. Now, we've shown this before, this type of analysis just with respect to the total cryptocurrency market cap rather than the price of Bitcoin. But the same type of strategies is still there. You just extend this line out all the way. Say let's extend it really far out, all the way to 2030. Okay, and you can see kind of this longer term trend run. And if we draw say our basic bottom area, which is here, you can see that at some point we're going to cross, right? I mean, we're likely gonna just oscillate in this window, and things are gonna get closer and closer together. And obviously you could draw this trend line down here a lot of different ways. I mean, you could pick it up from the bottom, and do something like that, where you show we're ultimately gonna cross. And if you were to look at, say, the fair value line, which is around here, that's what it's more or less trending towards. The idea is that while some of you may be discouraged that we're not going to see these as amazing speculative bubbles as we've seen in the past, it doesn't mean that there's not a lot of money to be made. And this is not financial advice, but even if you were to see something like this, this is still a huge gain. And I think a lot of money will be made in the next cryptocurrency market cycle. And obviously Bitcoin is one of the ones that you certainly, it is the index of the market. And I don't know exactly how this goes. It might go something like that, maybe something like this. But in general, you can see that trend that is forming. So, maybe you're discouraged that this is what it looks like and you'd rather see it come way back up here. But just remember that while this market cycle might not be as spectacular as the last one, which was not as spectacular as the one before that or the one before that, the people that are getting in at the next peak, so if you go back up here, the people that are getting back into the market, say at the next peak, they're gonna really feel the pain that you guys are feeling now, but even to a greater extent, because they're gonna have to likely wait a lot longer. And in addition to having to wait a lot longer, the gains that they'll probably see won't be nearly as high. So this is the general interpretation of what I'm trying to show. Now, if you show the regression band on here, we've talked about how this is pretty indicative of trying to figure out when we're going to cross various levels. But I've talked about that in a different video. This the primary regression band and the top. So what I want to talk about at the very the tail end of the video is just get a general idea of how long it takes between these various time frames. So if we were to take a measured move from, say, when we broke below, let's say we take it from when we broke below the red line to the amount of time it took to break back above it. The first time it was 532 days. The second time, you can see it was closer to 1,000 days or so. Okay, and then if we scroll over and say project out, the next one. So if we just take a move here, we go to where we broke through it, and then come out. We're already at 763 days. Let's assume that this is a linear scale. I obviously have no idea if it will be. But let's just say it takes around 1,500 days to break through it. If you extend this red line, you continue extending it. It's going to continue to go up, obviously, because it does monotonically increase. So let's just say it's somewhere in that area. So maybe we break above the red line at a valuation maybe between $50,000 to $70,000 per Bitcoin, sometime in maybe summer of 2022. And you can imagine if we overlay the regression band, because we have an idea that we're going to get to the fair value of Bitcoin at 20K maybe in about 15 months or so. So if that is the general, so 20K is around this region, okay? So if we ultimately just come up to 20K, somewhere in that range, and then let's go ahead and hide that again, and then we break out over here. So let's change the color, let's change it to orange, and then we break out here, and then go into our final speculative bubble, maybe by sometime in 2023, something like that. Okay, obviously I drew this correction way worse than it needed to be, but you get the idea. This is generally what I'm seeing. The nice thing though is we don't actually really have to just move like this. It doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be such a slow move. We could see these mini speculative bubbles just like we saw in 2019. You can see that we came up to the red line, but we did not break through it. So this is ultimately what I see happening. I see something like this happening. Of course, there could be many smaller speculative bubbles in the meantime that occur, and but ultimately, I do think it's going to take a little while for us to really build up that momentum to get to the point where we can revisit the red line, which at current valuation is around $25,000. By 2023, 2022, it's probably going to be closer to maybe $50,000 to $70,000, depending on when it happens, and then hopefully we see a small break above that line. So this is generally the idea. One of the things too that I wanted to show, if we go ahead and delete these, is if we were to take a measure move here from when we broke through the red line to the peak. This one was around a 1,600% move. This one was around an 1,800% move, and then this one was around a 300% move. But remember, this one isn't exactly, it's not exactly. I'm not drawing it exactly to where it moved, because we remember it only spent like a day there, so it wouldn't. It might not necessarily show up that well. But you can see that these peaks. This one was around 1,600%. This one was around 1,800%. This one was only 300% above the red line. So the next one, I imagine we will go above the red line, but I don't think we would go that far above it. Okay, and remember, the way that we can really think about this is, where is the price with respect to the fair valuation? Are we getting back up into this region, which, as I'll remind you, is kind of our longer term trend line here. So are we getting back up into this region? And if we are, maybe this is saying, okay, you know what, it's been a fun ride. Hopefully all of us are up 10 to 20x by that point on Bitcoin alone, and it's just time to take the profits and run. So if you guys like this content, again, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and remember, we do have the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. If you want access to a weekly premium video, a premium report, a Google Sheets dashboard with live risk metrics, and also the newest addition to the premium list is a private Telegram channel that I just broadcast my own charts on. So if you guys like this type of stuff, we look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Cardano. We also look at Tesla. I'm going to be having a video on Netflix coming out soon. So if you guys want access to this, please check out my premium list. Also, remember to check out the Telegram channel in the description below, the public Telegram channel, if you just want to discuss these charts. We do have over 4,000 people. So I'm happy that you guys tuned into the video. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.